The dawning of new leadership is approaching, and you can complain about what has been or focus on what shall be. You can complain or you can engage. Alumni, I challenge you to look at your degree and ask the question, what have you done for B-CU lately?
Yo, that was our very own, I'm changing my camera, wow. That was our very own Mr. Deric Feacher, who will be joining us tonight to discuss the presidential search, which has kind of consumed our show for the last few weeks. But I thank you all for joining me. But before we get into it, let's start the show the right way. Yo, what's happening, y'all? Steve Holmes here. You're watching another episode of The Real. Thank you all for joining me. It's Thursday night again. I swear the Thursdays just come so fast now. It seems like I end the show and I go to sleep and I wake up and it's Thursday all over again. So thank you all for joining me. We got another good one tonight. As I mentioned, we've got another special guest in the place tonight. My man, Mr. Deric Feacher, will be joining us later on in the show. We're going to talk the presidential search. We're going to talk kind of the inner workings as much as he could, divulge to us with how we arrived where we are and what we can expect over the next week or two. We'll get to that because I really do. I'm interested to pick his brain on a few things. And I know you all will have questions. Please, if you're watching, you're in the comments. Comment, let me know you guys are here. Hello. Also, do me a favor, and if you have not subscribed to the show, please do so. Again, that helps us grow our platform. And if you are not following us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, do so. That way you guys can be in the know when things are, popping off, so to speak. So, we've got a good one tonight. I am very, very, very excited to be talking to Deric Feacher about a multitude of things. But we will get to that as soon as we go through a few things. And first on deck is our usual suspects, the real MVPs. I did get some last minute contributions before the show. I tried to update it as best I could. So if it's not right, please charge it to my head and not my heart. I thank you all so much for your support for the show. Again, we get donations from like $5 up to $20, $25. We've had a couple of larger ones, but that's kind of where most people are. And again, we don't need any big time heavy donors or heavy contributors. Just a bunch of small ones, can be just as effective. And these donations go toward the show. Again, I say it every week. Me doing this is not a free endeavor. There are some costs associated with it, and I do wish to grow this platform, and you all help me do that through your giving and your contribution. So I'm eternally grateful to everyone who, after every week, goes into their pocket and shoots us a cash app for, again, $5, $10, $15, $20. Like, it means a lot. Eric, 3 times this month. And let me say this about the MVPs. This is a mixture because I totally forgot we're in June and I reset the list every month. So this is a mix of the people that gave in June, and we've only been in June 5 days, so it would have only been like maybe 4 people. But I just included everybody who also gave in May. So Eric, 3 donations. Theron, 3 donations. Vernon, 2. Adrian, 2. Tundra, Milan, E.H. Tucker, Altamont, Lenitra, Oscar, Darius. I saw that you had one that came in earlier today. I just didn't get a chance to update it. So he's got his second donation for the month. Amazing. Lewis, Mims, Angelina, and Deric. I love y'all. I thank y'all so much. You guys, you make me feel like you guys kind of like what we got going on here. And that's cool. That's cool. Speaking of donations and contributions, we got a big shindig coming up with the institution. Let's talk about that for a second. They have the National Day of Giving, or the Day of Giving. I don't know if it's National Day of Giving, but Day of Giving. But the big give back coming up on June 18th, which is in a couple of weeks. And so that's going to be a really big push for the school. I do know that they are looking to raise, I think it was like 200,000 on that day. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. That's the least we can do, is raise 200,000. That is the very least we can do. There are enough alumni that we should be able to do double that, maybe even triple, if everybody. Again, many hands make light work. You don't need a couple of people holding the weight for everybody. If everybody just does their part, don't feel like what you have ain't enough. Trust me, the school is going to need it. And I feel like they're going to need us a lot coming up. And hopefully this will be right around the time where we'll know who our next president is going to be. So it's going to be a really big push. So get ready. If you need to set some dollars aside now, you get, paydays tomorrow. Listen, or next Friday, take your $50, take your $100, and just tuck it off to the side and say, this is for my school on the 18th. I'm gonna make sure they get it. All right. And because we ought to be doing a lot more than I think we are doing right now. So it's a big deal. I have something that I want to talk about. And before we get into our discussion with Deric, and before he and I get into things, he's got to call. He hadn't called in yet, but when he calls in, we'll move. But I need to park here for a second, and I need, if everyone is watching, I like when we can talk about good things, and I hate it when we have to talk about bad things, and this is pertaining to the school. And so there's a young man, well, it's not a young man, Mr. B-CU. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to him. His name is Daryl Williams Jr. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to a post on his page, but it's a pretty troubling post when you kind of understand what he's saying there. And I'm gonna go through it. I don't think we have time to play it all. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because it's like 5 minutes, but I want to play you enough of the video he released. He released this last Friday, last Thursday or Friday, and I saw it. A couple of people sent it to me, and I said I'm gonna talk about this next week because it's one of those things where this is actually the perfect time to talk about it. So let me just shut up. Let's get to it, and I want y'all to, if you're in the comments, let me know. You should be able to hear it.
Then re-ran. A king that worked tirelessly, sans pay. When his predecessor...
You know what? Let me start from the beginning. I'm sorry, y'all. I wasn't even from the beginning.
Curiosity weighed on my mind as I walked through the halls. Like, how can you downtrodden the king who gave it his all? I said downtrodden because you're the ones with power. And I'm talking to the same ones who post anonymously like cowards. But now let's talk about your king and who he really served. Since his term is finished, it's the least y'all deserve. An ambitious individual that came in with big plans just for them to get criticized, denied, then re-ran. A king that worked tirelessly, sans pay.
So let me kind of explain what's happening here. This is the past Mr. B-CU, Mr. Bethune-Cookman, Daryl Williams Jr. And this is I guess it's like a poem, I guess, that he wrote, and he was expressing essentially his frustrations with, he didn't name anybody, but leaders, so-called leaders, or people who I guess were there to either be with them or work with them. And there's a couple of points in the video where he's telling you some of the things that he went through, and he said they had a bunch of meetings that were last minute mandatory meetings that basically were wastes of time. That they had promised them a parking decal on campus, and he didn't get it, and ended up accruing like $400 in parking tickets. And that they got a lot of their suits from like Amazon that they were, I guess the school was supposed to pay for them or whatever. I guess that was the thing, like their wardrobe, and that they were constantly being silenced, and they were not allowed to speak out on things, and that essentially this guy had a crummy experience as campus royalty. And so I can't confirm or deny anything he says, but I do have my own experience with the royal court. And just give me a second, and I'll tell you what happened. So this was back at homecoming, this past homecoming, and we had the big pep rally down at the Ocean Center. And I remember we were sitting like on, yeah, it doesn't matter, but we were sitting close to the royal court just by chance. I didn't know they were down there, but when we came in, they were sitting like on the first section, first few rows, and they were just kind of chilling. Well, at some point during the night, I get up to go and get myself, either I go to the bathroom or get something to eat or something. I don't remember. I also remember a couple of them coming up to grab something to eat and do their, I don't know if they were just walking around or whatever, but we get to the counter at the same time. And I remember when I saw them, obviously when you see the royal court, it's like you have this really bubbly feeling of reverence, and you revere the royal court, and you see these kids, they look stunning, and they got their regalia on all this stuff. And so I saw them, and I was just kind of taken aback because a couple of members of the royal court were standing right here. And so they were getting ready to order, like, I think the guy had ordered, I don't know, like a bag of chips or something, and I think the other person. And so I told the lady at the counter, I said, I got them. I'm like, whatever y'all want. I'm like, y'all go ahead, get what y'all want. I got it. Don't worry about it. So a couple of them, they got something. I don't remember what they got. And I told them, I said, if any of the other members of the court are hungry, tell them come find me, and I'll make sure that they eat, because y'all shouldn't be having to walk around and buy food from a concession stand. Not the royal court, right? They shouldn't have to do that. So I was a little bothered by that. And so the night goes on, we just going through things, and I think one of them come and find me and said, hey, it's a couple other members of the court that are hungry, and would you mind getting them something to eat? I'm like, yeah, go find them and bring them to me. So we ended up meeting up, and I took them. If you guys remember, if you were at homecoming at the Ocean Center, there was this little hot food area out in the atrium. And so I took all of them down to the atrium, and I just told the lady, I said, whatever they want, here's my card. They good. Just, make sure they eat. And so in my mind, and we were standing in line together, and we were talking, and I was asking about who they were, classification, what you trying to do after graduation, all that kind of stuff. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, why am I just a random alumni who's at the pep rally, like having to take these kids to go get food from the atrium in the Ocean Center? That upset me so bad, because number one, the royal court, when they step out and they're on campus or school business, or they're in their regalia and they're doing their thing, they should not have to worry or ask anybody for anything ever. Now, when they go into class and they not in their capacity, okay, I get it. But when they're representing the school, in their royal court capacity, that there should be no reason at all why me, of all people are buying them food. Now, I don't know the reason behind it. I don't know the mechanics of the royal court, how they work, what you got to pay for, what you got to, I don't know. I have no idea. All I know was I paid for the entire royal court's food at the pep rally. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, where's the advisor? Where's the adult that's supposed to be with them to make sure that they have what they need? And so I'm bringing this up because I actually think it's a really good time to talk about these kinds of things as we're approaching a transition period with our leadership. It's good to talk about this. It's good to get these kind of things out so that the next leader who's here can address these types of situations head on. Because again, there's no reason why a royal court should want for anything when they're walking around with their crowns and their scepters and their sashes. No, when they've got all their things on and they're representing the school, somebody should be right behind them with whatever they need. It could be drinks, it could be snacks, a credit card so they can get drinks and snacks or whatever it is. And that just wasn't the case at homecoming. It was bananas that situation even happened. Now, I was happy to do it. I was more than happy because if you all remember, we had set out a call to action that alumni were supposed to find a freshman and sew into them financially. So if y'all remember, it was like we were making sure everybody was alumni was giving kids walking around just giving random kids money, going to them, just giving them $20, $30 for handing out money. That's what we need to be doing every year. So I was already in the mode of give anyways. Me and Michelle, we was walking around. We probably gave out $300-$400 to kids, homecoming weekend. Gladly did it. We'll do it again. Hopefully, maybe not this year, but the next time we get around a bunch of kids, we'll be able to give even more, right? That's the plan. So, again, I was a little upset by that. And when I saw that video, I said, we need to talk about it. It's a ugly part of what's happening, but these are the things that, we got to talk about. So, I haven't heard from Deric. Let me make sure he's not texting me or anything. I know he said he was going to call in, but that's cool. We got a few more things. Here's a quick word on our golden honors. So yeah, that's our Golden Honors program that will be happening soon, and we're trying to pull kind of the details together, and I think that that's going to be a special thing once we finalize the deets for that, which we are doing now. We should have some official words and correspondence for everybody in July, and that's when you guys will know what everything's about. And I think it's going to be a good deal. I don't want to give you too much because again, we're still working through the deets, but just know, again, this is a program that is by us. And give me 1 second, y'all. That is by us. And Deric, if you can try to log in. I don't know if you can see my message. If you can try to log in. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, Deric's in the place, y'all. So, but like I was saying, again, we'll be planning it. And I lost my train of thought. But we'll be planning the Golden Honors program, and it'll give you all a chance to be recognized and honored and talked about and celebrated, because I believe, I don't know about you, but I believe Bethune-Cookman has some of the most incredible, amazing alumni, period, full stop. And a lot of us fall under the radar, and we fall kind of behind the scenes, or nobody ever talks about them. I know the school is getting a little bit better about recognizing some alumni. I still don't think we do enough of that. But I understand they're doing better with it. So again, we have some amazing alumni, and I cannot wait until we unroll and unleash this program to y'all, and we get to, honor y'all the way y'all should be honored. I'm going to now connect us in to my man, the main man, Mr. Deric Feacher. Welcome to the show. Actually, hold up. I don't know if y'all know this, but my very, very, very first guest on my live was Mr. Deric Feacher. So this is great that he's back again 6 months later. We hadn't talked to him because I know he has had his head down. He gave the commencement address back in May, and he's been helping our search committee finalize the president. So you've been a busy man on top of running the city of Daytona Beach. So you are an important person. So I thank you for your time to come and talk to us tonight. How you doing?
Doing well, and I'm glad that you allowed me to come back on your broadcast. I think it's real important. That's why I'm doing it, because we've got to make sure that we get the right people in position at our alma mater to make it the best, not only HBCU in the state of Florida, but the desired destination for people that want to get a quality education. And so I'm appreciative that you're doing this platform, and hopefully the next president will utilize your platform to get the message out, not only to alums, but also to the world.
That would be great. I'm definitely looking forward to the moment where I get to sit down with whomever that new president will be and pick their brain and talk to them about this process and how it was, and then talk to them about, their plans and the future of the institution. And again, I'm grateful that we are at this point because it's been a long time coming, and a lot of stuff that we just was unfortunate that we kind of had to reset things. But honestly, resetting the search let a lot of people know that that the school is really trying to do better by the process. And again, you and the rest of the committee really should be commended on the job that you all have done up to this point. But let's get into what it was like being on the committee. And first of all, I know you got chosen. When did you get chosen to be on the committee? That was February?
Yeah, I think in February. I had to get a call 2 or 3 times, really almost, because to be honest, Stephen, I did not want to have to fight my brothers and sisters of Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
In regards to who I need to select, what I need to do. It better be an alum. If you don't do that, you're a sellout and all that stuff. And I was really just in my mind going, I don't need this headache. I got a good job.
So what you're saying? So you were hesitant about it?
Oh, definitely,
Wow.
definitely, because
okay.
The visceral that comes out from some people, it just I just didn't want to have to deal with that, as far as friends that I had built relationships with from college, but also candidates that were wanting to be in the pool that I knew personally. It was questionable for me.
Yeah, well, I guess I didn't think about that. I didn't when they were I started hearing names and things, and I was excited once I heard you were on there, and I heard there was a few other names. I'm like, oh yeah, we good, but I guess I didn't think about the ramifications that you all would have to consider, because it really is helping to choose the 8th president. Like, that is no small feat or task, or that's not anything just, that's not insignificant. It's actually very significant considering where we are, and then considering like the climate of a lot of stuff. So what was it like being on the inside of the search, and was it a hectic process? I know you guys went from, say, that 135 number. What was it like getting from that number down to 14 or 16, whatever it was, down to our final 3?
Let me say that there are threefolds. The search committee consisted of people from different backgrounds, different perspectives. I got to give it to the faculty reps on the search committee. They were advocating for the best individuals in regards to the academic rigor of the university, building morale, making sure that the faculty and staff had a seat at the table. Yep. So that was pretty good. And then you've got certain people, in my perspective, I'm trying to figure out, how does this candidate not only have a good working relationship with the faculty and staff and take care of the students, but how will they bridge the gap between the university and the community? When you've got 3 or 4 individuals in the community that are multimillionaires and billionaires, how will this particular candidate be able to get those individuals to come back into the university? I mean, let's be honest. People don't know. We got a billionaire whose office is on Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, who also provides the insurance for the university, Brown and Brown. How do we make sure? I mean, his office is on Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, and he has a statue of Dr. Bethune in his park. So how do we bridge that gap? What will be the best candidate? So that's going through my mind. But then you also have individuals who we don't want to talk about it, but it is necessary, that want to make sure we have a great working relationship with Tallahassee, with our governor, the cabinet, the legislature, and in DC. And everyone thinks that we should just say we're a private school, we don't have to worry about that. But we get consistent funding from the state. So we had to have individuals that understood that component of it as well. And so those benefits, going through that process of trying to work our way through it, where you got 4 or 5 alumni who probably, and I can't speak for all of them, but you had alumni going, I want a Dr. Brunson type individual who has the heart of Dr. Brunson, who's an alum of the university, regardless of where they are in their state of life, that have the credentials. We want that person. And so it was a balancing act for that. But I have to give it to Jennifer Myers McCrae. Now, I don't know how they work with in Tallahassee at FAMU, because they were part of that same search. But the person that was assigned to Bethune-Cookman University, I would give her a very good letter of recommendation, because she refused to allow for us to get bogged down in minutia that was not going to really help and benefit the university. So go ahead.
With respect to the search company organization, what was their role in the like, what was their thing in the process? I know they like were the search committee, but from what I know, there were actually a lot of people that were referred by alumni. So like, what was their what was their purpose with respect to all the candidates?
For me, they made it easy for us to look at all of the credentials, all of the qualifications, what value they can bring as far as what their research provided. But let's just make it clear, we had access to all candidates, whether they met the criteria or not.
So they gave you guys like they had like a platform or apparatus where you guys could go in and just do your thing and
do our thing, give ratings, look at stuff, make it easy. Do they meet this for you? Let's just say I wanted a person that has had a working relationship. I could, in my mind, a working relationship with the city manager or the mayor. I could see all of that.
Right.
It was set aside for us, but also based on the job description that was approved by the board of trustees, they gave us a list that met all of those characteristics. So, but we could look at all of them.
Yeah.
And if we thought that someone needed to be dragged into the discussing with the search committee, they were put into that discussion, and it wasn't easy. I don't know if you've I think John Crossman was on. I mean, like, we had to take a break, man. Like, it was so.
Yeah, so that was gonna be my next question. Like, that had to be a process, especially at the very beginning, when you're just trying to whittle down to a more digestible number. So let me ask this question. This is probably funny. How many of the 135 would you say, like, you looked at and you were just like, now why did they apply?
Man, hey, hey, I and not trying to throw out, but I think about, hourly wages of what, and I'm looking at some of these people like, who they think we Boo Boo University.
So
Like,
so y'all, you had to put what you made, like your current wages on.
oh yeah, all of that was in there. Oh yeah, like it's yeah. Oh yeah,
Okay.
Listen, we had everything.
So in other words, you saying somebody that was making $20 an hour put their name in the hat for the president of university.
Some people shouldn't have been the security guard on Martin Lawrence.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but then there are some individuals that, Steve, I'm just being honest. There are some individuals who, if there were roles at Bethune-Cookman University, from CFOs to VPs to deans to professors to institutional advancement to provosts, all of that, that we could afford and get all to come.
Yeah,
we would be we would be. I better not say Harvard of HBCUs. And
no, you don't want to say that at all.
Yeah, but no, we would be the Yales, the Princetons, of HBCUs. I mean, like, really, what this search showed me, these academicians, these intellectuals, these CEOs, these business individuals, these provosts, these deans and stuff, who are at great institutions of higher learning, for them to apply for our presidency made me think differently about our financial stability, our SACS accreditation, and what the potential is for Bethune-Cookman. Because people who have great jobs or great opportunities, they're not coming to Bethune-Cookman if they got to fight.
Yeah.
But the people that are applied, all of the three candidates, they understood and understand what's at stake, and they realize that there has to be great leadership to take us to the next level. There's no doubt all three can be game changers, but you've got to figure out the board of trustees.
Yeah, they got a job.
What do they want?
Yeah. Jason Gatlin posted in the group. And listen, for people that's watching, if you have questions, put them in the chat, and I'll try to, we'll ask them live. If Deric can answer them, he will, and if not, he won't, because I'm sure there's some confidentiality things that got to be considered. But put your questions in the chat so we can so we can talk about it. Jason Gatlin says, were the game changers in the three that were selected versus some of the other top candidates? So basically, what separated these three from some of the other top candidates?
Yeah. I'll try to give you some of my perspectives on it. And remember, there is a large group of individuals that have their own perspectives.
Right.
But when I try to balance out, being one who I do know Bethune-Cookman, not maybe as intertwined as some people that are working, but I try to balance out what we need from academic excellence, what we do need from fundraising. We need to raise funds.
Yes.
We need to have someone that understands and has the ability to do it, or has done that successfully in other institutions. So what separated these individuals is they understood Bethune-Cookman at a high level, and also you can tell that they had done some great research. And so when you look at balancing out some of the negatives of others, because we had access to information, background, history, what has been done in certain other universities or certain colleges, or in their private sector life, if they were not all candidates that came from the academic setting. So we were able to look at all of that stuff that other people may not be able have looked at, to say, what do we want in this university and what can we handle?
Yeah.
And I think that's the separation. What could be handled, and and what will draw in the most negative information from the paper. You all know we in Daytona Beach, the papers here have not been as kind to Bethune-Cookman as they could have when there are other issues taking place all over the country
Right.
and even locally in our colleges and universities. And you can look right up the road to um, to the University of Florida,
Oh yeah.
um, the University of Central Florida, or
Yeah.
to Daytona State about 10 years ago, that there
Mhm.
were issues and concerns with their leadership. I'm not talking about lower down, that we've got leadership that has transitioned in the past 5 years at those universities as well, but they don't get the front page news that Bethune-Cookman gets.
Yeah.
And so we had to look at all of those perspectives. I think all three of these candidates bring something that will be beneficial. And the board of trustees, they're going to have to figure out, do they want um, a current president that has proven what he can do in regards to raising money, academic rigor, and creating new programs? Do they want a dean who has a successful program of excellence and also doing entrepreneurship and has raised funds in the dean perspective? Do they want the chief operating officer, second in command of a state college that can build relationships in Tallahassee or not? So all of them bring something to the table, and those trustees are going to have to determine what is best for the institution, not only right now, but also 5 years from now. But I can tell you, we've got to have somebody that can come in and knock on the door of a donor, a potential donor, work with people in Tallahassee, work with people in DC, and also figure out how we're going to do those articulation agreements with the colleges here. It makes no sense for Bethune-Cookman University to sit in a area within 3 miles of each other where you've got other programs that have masters and PhDs, that they've got aviation, they've got criminal justice, nursing, computer science, engineering, technology, and not be able to have articulation agreements where our students can go right there. And since Bethune-Cookman tuition is not cheap, not inexpensive, if they want to go to Emerita for masters and PhDs in computer science, engineering, aviation, or if they want to go to MPA programs or MBA programs that may not be at Bethune-Cookman and take them at UCF grad school, they're there. And that's what we need, someone that they're not learning,
Yeah.
they're actually running and doing the job.
Yeah. Got a few questions from the chat. The first one is from Adrian Yancey. He says, I followed both FAMU and our presidential searches closely. Did you have to pour over hours and hours of interview packets and video submissions?
Yes. Not only that, when I will give it, Crossman and Jennifer from the search committee, if you hadn't filled out your forms and did your Rubik, we weren't having a meeting. Everyone had to. Oh man, like listen, I literally was up for 4 or 5 hours because there are 10 questions, and what I liked is it wasn't emotional. So you actually had to do ratings to bring people at certain levels. So you couldn't just say, I like Dr. Mosley, I like Dr. Gibbs, or Dr. Farrell. Well, why did you like? Oh well, Dr. Gibbs, she was great about. She started 20 companies. Or Dr. Mosley has an aviation program. Dr. Farrell has raised money and overseen all of the state colleges and universities in the state of Florida. We had to identify the strengths and weaknesses, rank them, and then put them together. And then once we got this top list of individuals, then we had to start going and communicating what are their strengths and weaknesses. It's almost like, why should I choose Dr. Mosley or Dr. Gibbs? And then it's tough for me, and I'll just be as transparent as I possibly can be without having this university come to sue me for violating in the contract. Like,
yeah, don't do that.
yeah, I'm like, some of these people are some of these candidates are people I know.
Right.
Like I've spoken at numerous universities, colleges, and then I'm an alum's alum. So I know alums because I deal with alum. It's not like, and so you think about that. And I'm just being honest. Like I'm on, like, listen, these my people in my mind. We've got to fight for it, and then I have to go through the process and say, do you want that to be the same thing when you apply for a job?
Yeah.
And that's the case. But yeah, we had a whole process, documents, and we could not go forward. Like I said, we had to stop for like 48 hours one time because everybody had not done what they were supposed to do to get their documents and information into Jennifer.
Wow.
At the search.
This is good information. This is the stuff that I think people need to hear, because sometimes, especially in this climate, when sometimes we don't always trust the process, especially considering what we've come from the last couple of years with our process, people are naturally hesitant to kind of accept that what's happening is happening in earnest. And here's something that I thought, and there are a few more questions I will get to, chat, but just give me 1 second. And you can answer this just for you. How did you feel with the situation up at A&M when they selected Marva Johnson, and then we started to hear the names of some of our board members be implicated in that? How did you feel initially, and did you feel like that could possibly derail all of the good work that you guys have been doing up to this point?
Definitely. I had the hesitation to sit with myself and go, this, I really wish that we would have already made our selection, because I knew it was going to happen once those votes came out, how they came out. And I had to separate myself from that perspective of going, I know what we have done as a search committee. Now, I can't tell you what they're going to do in the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whenever the date is, which I think is approaching. But I knew that we had did the right thing. And so I could not find myself in the situation of trying to go, oh, we're in trouble. And the greatest thing that happened for me is I had heard that trustees may have been calling, and I don't know for facts because I don't ask these questions, but that in the previous search they were calling people, telling you to vote for. I did not have one trustee contact me and tell me who they wanted me to look at or have a conversation of what they wanted.
Yeah.
And so that showed that I don't know if they respected me enough to know that I probably would have said, please don't call my number again, or that they had that this was process had to be different. Are we going to find ourselves in the same situation that we found ourselves in the past year? But it caused me to pause. We've got 3 trustees who serve on our trustee board, and to say that I was like, it was an interesting vote of how the votes went down.
It was definitely interesting. Yes.
But guess what? I'm not on that search committee.
Right.
I love, and Wildcats don't kill me. I love FAMU. It's some percentages right up under Bethune-Cookman, but I don't want them to fail. I want them to be successful, because once they start knocking off one university that looks like our universities from HBCU perspective, we're all going, and we need them to be galvanized to help transform the very fabric of education in our state.
Yep.
But I am not only praying daily for our board of trustees, but I am going to let them know that it is greater than them as an individual. It's greater than the moment of who may be sitting in the city manager's seat at Daytona Beach, or the mayor's seat, or the governor's seat in Tallahassee, or the president's seat in DC. In 2 years, it's going to change in Tallahassee. In 4 years, it's going to change. 3.5 is going to change in DC. And in 3 years, it can change in Daytona. And every 2 weeks, it can change in the city manager's seat. You've got to do what is right for the longevity of Bethune-Cookman, and not the longevity of your position on the board of trustees.
Definitely.
And that's what they've got to see, and that's what we have to keep telling them, because 2 years from now, it may be a different person, a different political party in the governor's mansion, and you've put all your eggs in one basket because you're focusing on an individual that can give you something and not what we can do to make Florida, Daytona Beach better. If we do what's right at Bethune-Cookman, if we produce quality students that can get into any other university they want to or be a CEO of their own company, that will speak for us, and more people will want to invest in our young people. And we've got to make sure we put students in front of them, that they realize that they got a quality education, whether it's in the School of Journalism, the School of Nursing, the College of Engineering, that they came out of the band, the football team. Make sure that those students can be the best representation of Bethune-Cookman. Will be fine. And so I look beyond the party, a candidate, and look, how can I put the right wildcat in front of whoever, whether they're Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, to say this is why you should invest in Bethune-Cookman. And it makes no difference if you're black or white, Jew or Gentile, straight or gay. You have a quality student that you can invest in, and we're going to make sure your money is taken care of. And that's what the trustees need to look at.
Absolutely.
And if they can get beyond that, man, it'll be better off for us. We are a university of faith, and I walk on that, and I believe that what's supposed to happen is going to happen, but how we respond will make it either longer or happen right away.
Absolutely. Good points. Got another question from the chat. This is from D Pandy. He says, if he can answer this, which I don't know if he probably can, was Dr. Jerry Picott one of the potential applicants?
I can give you this answer. If you call him, he'll be able to tell you if he was or not.
That's smart. Yeah, so that is a answer of somebody who works for the city of Daytona.
He'll be able to tell you. He'll be able to tell you if he was or not.
Yeah. One more. This is from Sky Confections. Can you address the fact that a B-CU alum wasn't selected as a finalist because a B-CU alum wasn't the most qualified for the role at this time? We have to strive to be most qualified in the future, which is a good point.
Yeah. When you say finalists, are you saying in the top 3, the top 5, or the top 8 or top 10? That's what I'm saying. So I want the person that's asking the question, if you know if there was a BC finalist that applied, see where they were in the process. Like I said earlier, I was working in my capacity trying to figure out what's the best alumni that would apply for the position if they were to apply for the position. We looked at what was the best qualified individual for Bethune-Cookman at this time. There are probably a bunch of qualified individuals, but does that mean that they're best for Bethune-Cookman at this time? And
Right.
That's what to look at. And how will they take the university over the next 4 or 5 years? I think Dr. Brunson was the only one who has been an alum of Bethune-Cookman, and Dr. Moore was not an alum. Dr. James Colston was not alum, and so we have to balance that out. And I think you're right. We were looking for the best person for Bethune-Cookman at this time. And I know if the person comes in and does a great job, the alum will get on. But I know I understand.
Yeah.
As an alum of Bethune-Cookman, it's almost like, could they will they bring back that old Bethune-Cookman spirit? But I remember when I got here, people were saying that Dr. Brunson should be terminated. We all love Prez, but people were saying that he should be terminated. If you read his book, The Chief Servant, they said that he wasn't on campus enough. They said he was out there just asking for money, never was on campus. And there was a newspaper article in the local newspaper that said something like the missing president.
Wow.
But Dr. Brunson understood the value that he needed to go out and build relationships. And so we're going to have those alum, to be honest, that are always going to be upset because they want to have an alum in the role. But we need to make sure we've got was Dr. Humphreys an alum of FAMU?
I believe he was. Yeah.
He was
I
an
believe he
alum
was.
of FAMU. Was Dr. Robinson alum of FAMU? I'm trying to figure. So my thing is, if we got a good alum, I'm great. But
Yeah.
but it's got to be the right person at the right time. And I hope that alum will give whoever's the candidate that becomes our president-elect in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
The change.
yeah, Robinson. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. More recently, that an alum isn't always the answer. And so I'll be honest. I felt the way that there was not an alum in the final three. I just knew there was going to be one, and I don't know who all were being considered. However, shortly thereafter, once I realized that there's 4 alumni on the board, or the search committee. It was 4 y'all, right?
Yeah.
4
Yeah, 4 or 5.
y'all. It was 2 students and 2 or 3 faculty. I'm like, if there was an alum that was worth their salt, they would have saw it and they would have said, this is a person that deserves to be in the mix. Now, people who may have thought the process to be disingenuous, or maybe they were being disingenuous with how they thought the process was themselves. But for people who were just kind of naysayers, it's easy to be like, well, it wasn't an alumni there because they don't want the school run by an alumni and all these different kind of conspiracy theories. But however, I looked at it objectively and I said, okay, if there's not a person that is a son or a daughter of the institution in this final, then to me, that lets me know that, okay, they're being very objective with their mission and making sure that it ain't just who you feel or who you love or who make you feel good or this or whatever. They're choosing people who they believe can have the best opportunity to lift the school. And to that point,
don't do an Oprah when you try to get my answer. Don't try to do an Oprah and have me
go ahead. Oh no! All right. So yes, I understand the position you're in, and I'm not gonna do that to you. I respect you too much. I won't ask, but I'm gonna leave you be. Some people want me to.
You never know. I might answer on the next show.
All right. Okay. Well, it'll probably be chosen by the next show, and then you'd be like, yeah, that's who I always said was gonna be it. No, but were there let's say we're down to that list of 14. How you get from how you weed out the other 11? Was that just like, were you splitting hairs? Like, was it that much of a difference from the third candidate to the 14th candidate? Was it like that? Was it a wide gap, or was it just like really? It just, you kind of end up splitting hairs toward the end.
Those point systems that Jennifer was making us go through,
yeah,
was all, and then it's like when you're at the last 14, it's like, okay, y'all at this, you got 4 people want this person, 3 people want that person, 6 people want that. It's time for like, here's everything. Here's background information.
Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me. Okay, so you guys are at 14, and then to get to 3, there's another level of background that they had to go through that you guys were. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you did it for everybody or if
we had basic stuff, but now it's the questions that I'm asking you. Have you ever went against? Is there anything that shows you've ever gone against your board of trustees? Have you been able to galvanize and raise money from alums? Are you in a area where you've got to get money from people who don't look like you? What academic programs have you added to to your programs, to your universities? What outside groups are you working with? Do the faculty like you? Do they hate you? You can easily Google everything now so easy. Like, has there ever been a vote of no confidence? Who are the people that that you can get money from?
Right.
Like literally, if Dr. Farrell, she's down south, and and somebody from the Miami Dolphins, or even though I'm a Bucks fan, saying that we coming to build Bethune-Cookman the stadium, I don't care what people think. That's going to be in the back of somebody's head.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, okay, wait a minute. So you say you can come and build a stadium on campus where the old football field and the band field is, and you're going to write one check and this we going to name it Dolphin Stadium? Or you've got Dr. Gibbs who's saying that if somebody says that, you know what, Wall Street is decide that they're going to give 10 internships the students to be up in New York for a year, or you got Dr. Mosley saying that, hey, he's going to have the Black Pilots Association, since he's into aviation and stuff, is going to come here and fully fund a professor to teach. You know, those are the things that you got to go, and we've got to weigh those options as search, because we're individuals. And for me, like I said, one of the key things for me is fundraising in the relationship to make Bethune-Cookman, make Daytona Beach really a college to gown, a gown to town type city. You know, how do we do that? So we got down to that and started having to go through all that stuff. What's out there on the social media platforms about these individuals?
Yeah, one of the things that I found refreshing, and I said this a few episodes ago, was that when I saw the list come out, the first thing I'm an investigator. Like when I try, I will go look something up in a heartbeat. When I saw the list come out, I said, let me go and look up all these people. Let me just go do a page one of Google. I'm gonna Google Albert Mosley, Google Coleman. Like I Googled him, and I went through the first like 2 pages of each candidate, and there was no real. There was nothing. There was no kind of smoking guns or anything. And I'm like, okay, these are clean candidates. Like they're clean candidates. And I thought that was good because again, the internet, it won't lie. Well, it will lie, but it won't lie at the same time.
Yeah. What do you think about it? I was actually, because I couldn't be fired from the university, I had faculty and staff and students asking me to ask questions and cause havoc when the 3 candidates was on site. Not really cause havoc, but asking questions that it's in their mind.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe that there should be curfews? Do you believe in co-ed dorms? Do you believe that we should have more academic programs? Do you believe that the band should travel to all games because they're the front porch of the university? Hello. You pay for the football team to go. Why you can't pay for the band to go? Go and put it in the budget.
Yeah.
Do you believe that faculty should have a seat at the table on the cabinet? Do you believe that the SGA should have a seat on the table on the cabinet? Do you believe maybe that the SGA president should be able to vote at Board of Trustees meetings? So, I was like, y'all can't fire me. So I just started asking all of these questions. And the candidates were answering these questions. And also, if you were in your first 90 days, do you have somebody you want to terminate? Because you never know who's going to get the job. So you don't want a faculty or staff member or student to make these questions. But I asked those questions in these lunches that we were having and in these breakfast that we were, because I know that those are questions that need to be answered. Now, I'm a good Christian person, but how in the world you can go right down the street and be not sleeping in the same room, but there are co-ed dorms at all at 90% of the PWIs, and all of our people got to sit in the lobby with 100 people.
Don't get me started. I told the story of that old battle axe that was messing with me and my wife back when we was trying to hang out in LLC back in the day. And I don't mean to call her Lady Battle Axe, but that's how.
Oh, you was smart because you was in LLC, so you was one of those students.
Yeah, me and my wife. Listen, man, we was in there watching Comic View and Video Soul or whatever it was called back then. We was chilling, having a good time, and this lady came and told her we wasn't even in the room. We was in the lobby, and it was like 9:00, and the lady made us. Boy, don't get me started again. Anyway, I'm gonna get going on that. Hold up. Sean Higgins asks, was salary requirement a consideration? And I think you kind of answered that, in a backwards kind of way, because if it was too low, that ruled them out. But I wonder, to the ones that were serious, Um, here's probably a better question: were there candidates that had unrealistic salary requirements, and maybe that's why they weren't chosen?
No, I don't, Sean. I don't think you said it was a Sean that answered. Yeah, I don't. I
Yeah.
don't think that any candidate that was even in the pool to apply was outside of the job posting salary range, and we were able to see all salary ranges within the last 30 days when they submitted their application. So we actually knew pretty much the salaries of all candidates.
Yeah. Okay.
So it met what the university was willing to pay.
Mm, that's good. That's good. Um, any more questions in the chat? Last chance to shoot them off. Shoot them off to Deric while we still have them. Yeah, you were mentioning. We were talking, and I'm gonna pivot for a second. To back to the school up north. And I don't really like talking. There's only one. I would say Florida State if I was talking about Florida State, but there's another school up north who I would not give them the dignity of saying their name on my show unless I have to. But anyways, their issue with their president, what you were talking about, you hit on something earlier. You're saying the things that are happening at UF or whatever don't always make the front page, especially on with news journal. And I don't know if people are paying attention to what happened at Florida just this week with their presidential situation, and what happened at the University of Florida is what I feared what was going to happen at the school up north if they had chosen Donald Palm to be the guy, which that's who everybody wanted, but he wouldn't have gotten approved, and everybody, were kind of hand wringing once he got approved. I mean, once Marvin Johnson got selected, everybody was kind of like panicking and stuff. And I'm just like, y'all, there's a way more political, bigger, longer view play here that I think those board members at A&M had to make. And fortunately for us, we don't have to deal with that kind of political influence, but we do have to play nice with the state because we don't know what type of we don't know what the state of Florida is going to scheme to do to a private school like Bethune-Cookman or Edward Waters or Florida Memorial. And while we're not sitting ducks like A&M because they're the only black HBCU, public HBCU in the state, we've got some vulnerabilities, and that vulnerabilities that we have are financial. And I know we get some state funds that we absolutely we need those. And the big give back event is coming up in a couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be critical that we start to find ways to self-fund our own institution. And I know some people don't think it can be done, but again, I always say many hands make light work. How do you feel about, this will be the last question, how do you feel about Bethune-Cookman being an institution that can either self-fund or supplement whatever type of cuts may be coming from the state? If any, they may not be coming at all, right? We may just have a relationship. But what do you say to the potential of a situation like that where, we may need to figure out a way how to go it alone?
We need to be the institution that is an institution of choice and not convenience. How we do that is having the right leader that looks at our academic programmings and figure out what are the needs from an academic standpoint that we do great. Not just because we want to say we've got a program. When you look at Morehouse and Spelman or Howard, they've got these endowments that they've created because they've found some great individuals that want to invest. So we've got to make sure that our next president has a track record of getting funding from uncommon places, rigorous academic programs, expanding our programs that are out there so we can show the world and we can get those professors that people are funding to come and teach at our institutions of higher learning. We've got to find our niche and not just be an HBCU.
Yep.
We've got to find what our niche is. If we've got a great nursing program, we've got to press the gas on that. And I believe that we've got, as alums, we've got to give. And it doesn't have to be 10, 15, 20, 30,000. But let's just be honest, man. People go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee that's $3, $4, $5 a day. Or we go out and spend $20, $30. Can you imagine if we just take 1 or 2 of our lunch meals and invest that back into the program in which you graduated from?
Yep.
I'm not telling you. So don't say you got to give it to the university because you still under the impression that somebody going to do something with the money. Give it to, for me, I need to give it to the political science department, but also I've invested in athletics this past year. This upcoming year, I'm investing in the band because my intern is the drum major of the band, and what he has received from Donovan Wells in the mindset of the value of advocating for your fellow students, advocating for what's best for the institution, even when the people want to probably kick you out of school because he's not running away. I see that Dr. Wells is not only creating great musicians, but he's creating great humans, because my intern talks about what he hears from him. So I'm going to invest in the band this year. Last year was athletics. For that, it's political science. So we got to invest in the programs that we think are good, and make sure that the next president has a track record. And I won't say online. I know all 3 of these candidates I have talked to more than once. I have talked to them to make sure their experience was here. And so, because I know they're in a situation right now, they lost for the next 2 weeks. So I just try to say hello to them. What's going on? How's everything going? And they reach out also. But I do want a candidate, the president, to really be become infused into the local community, understand that the value of articulation and creating partnerships with Emory-Riddle, Daytona State, and all of that, and can raise money.
Yeah.
And I think all 3, they have their strengths, but there's a candidate in this group that can do all 3. And you all are just going to have to figure out who that candidate is. And the board of trustees, they have a tough decision. And I hate to say it this way, they can't mess this one up.
They can't.
You can't. And then who they choose, they can't be petty and try to micromanage.
Nope.
If it's outside of the fiduciary and the policy lane, they need to stay away from that and let the president do their job. And if they don't do their job based on the level you want, when it's time for their annual evaluation, you denote that in the evaluation. They don't get the bonuses that they may want, but don't try to come in and micromanage back door, side door, front door. Let them do their job. And that's why you're selecting them as president of the university. And I'm praying for all 3 of them, because I don't know who the trustees are going to make. And I hope that the first show that they come on, I'm going to be your show. You have been an advocate for what's great for Bethune-Cookman. And if they should, whoever it is, should say, you know what? Once the board of trustees says you're the president-elect and they say you're free to talk with the media, I hope the first person that they do, they say they call in a press conference with you. And then you just get on the plane and y'all go sit in Whitehall with the lights on the stage and make all of the press have to come and have it moderated by an alum of Bethune-Cookman, and they don't get the opportunity to be first ones to do it. We should let our alum, let his platform get the publicity of having that first fireside chat with our next candidate, and then he can go out and do all of the interviews, or she can go out and do all the interviews, or they can go out and do all of the interviews they want for Bethune-Cookman.
Do you want to be my manager?
I got you, and for free until you make the first million. Then you got to start paying
All
me.
right. Okay. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. I got the
yeah, but
first
yeah,
minute. Yeah. I got you. I got you.
yeah,
Listen,
you need to be on the stage with them.
I would be honored, obviously, to speak to whomever they choose, because I think they all show well. So yeah, whatever happens, yeah. If they give me the first shot, cool. If not, I'll wait my turn. It's all good. I just want us to get a good president. I want us to get a good president at the end of the day. Deric, this has been great. You have given us quite a glimpse into what it meant to be on that search committee, and it sounded like it wasn't easy, and it sounded like it was a task that was every bit as tedious as you would probably think it would be. And so we don't, typically we don't get to hear from search committee members or board members. So I thank you. I thank the board for allowing you to come and talk to us. I thank the board for being, again, transparent, and everybody that has had a hand in where we are today. Listen, kudos, because it's been real. We got to do it again, of course, at some point. I'll bring you back on, and I'll send you a contract to be my manager as soon as I hang up this call.
I got you, and like I said, you don't have to pay me to the first million.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hell Wildcats.
Hell Wildcats. That was great. Deric is great, man. So listen, you can take from that what you may when it comes to what you thought about the process. He was in the middle of the process. He was one of the people that had to look at names and look at profiles and look at background checks and do all the things, and had to grade each candidate on a rubric. So the detail in which he laid out his things, I don't know how anybody at this point can be like, the process wasn't fair, or it wasn't transparent, or it was rigged, or whatever. I don't know how anybody can say that. Again, maybe your candidate didn't make it to the end, but that doesn't make the process illegitimate. You know what I'm saying? And so we got some more comments. Who we got? Miss Tundra say, listen, she invested by still purchasing her season tickets. And if you're talking about football tickets, God bless you for keeping your season tickets. Because I know that, that's some money that's hard to come off of for the way our team been playing. Vernon Jackson says, I pray the Lord lead the Board of Trustees to make the right decision in selecting the next president of the great Bethune-Cookman. I agree. Yeah. So couple things before I wrap it up tonight, just so you all know. Listen, this is important. I'm gonna go back to this screen. This is important. The big give back is important, y'all. We got to come out the gate. This will be, I think the school's fiscal year also ends in June, I believe. So it's a big deal that we come out, or either leave the gate or come out the gate, whatever, which one it is, hitting for next semester. That they see that the alumni are galvanized. And I know I talked to plenty of alumni around my age group. There is a lot of alumni with pinned up giving that they want to give, and they haven't over the last few years because they just haven't felt that comfortable in what they were seeing from the institution. That is changing. Like, that is absolutely changing, and people are starting to see, like, okay, we getting this thing back on track. So do not forget about that on the 18th. I'm gonna talk about it until the 18th. In fact, I'll be making a little bit of an appearance during it. So listen, that's a big deal. We are going to be shutting down the show, unfortunately, for a little hiatus. I need a break, y'all. I've been going since right after homecoming. I've been doing these shows. Then I started doing the live shows in on YouTube in January. I started them just doing them on Instagram and then moved over to here. So I've been going straight for 6 months, and I've only missed maybe a week or two. And so, yeah, I need a little bit of a break. So after the big give and after they choose a president, I'm going to take a bit of a break up until maybe about August, once football season and the new school year rolls around. And then we're going to crank back up. I'll pop in during the summer with some just maybe pre-recorded videos on issues as they arise. But just know I haven't left y'all. We coming back. I'm going to revamp the show. I'm going to come back bigger and better. Listen, the show didn't drop tonight, thank God. But I know why it didn't drop, because it was the phone thing last week messed up my computer. I don't know why. But yeah, we are way over time. So I thank y'all again for the support. And y'all have been amazing with your support. And I get so many good comments and wonderful feedback from the alumni. I hope I make y'all proud. I hope I make Dr. Bethune proud. I hope I make those students proud. I just want us to have a healthy, functional, financially strong institution. And if this is my way of helping to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes you got to be the change that you want to see. All right. I love y'all. Hail Wildcats. Catch y'all next week. Peace.